When are you going to grow up?
I'm never going to grow up, and I don't want to grow up.
I'd like to stay a kid my whole life.
Never. I haven't grown up, and I don't intend to ever grow up.
A beautiful day to come down to Byron Bay. It's fantastic to see so many people here, and this is, I think, a very important book. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce the author of this fantastic book, Leaving Neverland, Why Little Boys Should Not Run Big Corporations, Mr. Daniel Croker.
Thank you. Some of you do know me from this show. Yeah! You're on Not the Comedy Show. Fall down. I had to play that. It just makes me laugh every time we play it. The comedy's been a big part of the writing of this book. It's one thing just to talk about all the problems, and I think a lot of people get depressed just thinking about the magnitude of the challenges that we face, and therefore they don't look for them. So by putting some of these challenges in an amusing and sometimes quite provocative and funny way, I think it makes it more accessible for people, and so it's entertaining. And also, for me, it would just be a rant. It might be a funny rant with the comedy, but there's a solution there too, which is, it's time for the conversation about growing up to start. For me, rites of passage are the way to bring back, the growing up. That's what traditional societies did for thousands of years. We've lost them, and if people here don't know what a rite of passage is, it's an event or ceremony that marks a transition from one life stage to another. They're normal. Marriage is an example, one that's not working quite so well as it used to. It is a rite of passage, so you go from unmarried to married and then possibly to divorce later. And the other ones that we missed, eldership. We have a lot of old people out there. Eldership is a way of being, so it's something that we can, it's a way of stepping into something and needs support for that to happen. But when we have elders around, we can achieve the other rites of passage even more easily. And the one that I've had the most experience with the Pathways Foundation is the rite of passage from child to young adult. And that was one that traditional societies spent most time and energy on back in a time when there was a village to raise the children, when there were good role models around for the boys and for the girls, and when they spent a lot of time with adults, they still put more time and energy into that, to the rite of passage from child to young adult, than any other aspect of traditional life, including harvest and planting, which are pretty important. We've got to eat sort of things. That's how important it was. We've lost that for a long time, and I think the consequences are all around it.
I just want to read out, this is in Daniel's book, this is on page 2, this is what he has to say about this. It is rare that the overgrown children that often run big corporations are flushed out of their ivory boys' clubs and separated from a sycophantic crowd. They are not used to being held accountable for their salaries or the preventable human and environmental suffering caused by the operations they are vastly overpaid to run on a take no responsibility first and take no responsibility last basis. Apparently, when you run a corporation that has an economic output greater than most countries, you expect to be treated like royalty, only better. In 2008, ranked by revenue, 65 of the top 100 world economies were corporations. Something that I find a bit frightening. Under critical public scrutiny, they cannot hide their callous lack of compassion for the great unwashed, the workers, the common folk, or as the chairman of BP refers to them, the small people. They also do not seem to have much regard for the environment. Quote, Louisiana isn't the only place that has shrimp. If you are alarmed, pissed off, or just concerned with what is happening in the Gulf and elsewhere, then this book is for you. If you think that it is time to say, just drop the cookies and back away from the jar, then this book is for you. If you are interested in solutions for leaving Neverland, then this book is for you. Now, I think this is a really important book for two reasons. So first of all, it outlines the facts of the situation. It says, basically gives a lay of the land where we are and what the problem is. But secondly, Daniel very eloquently provides a solution.
What do you think when I say the words grow up?
When are you going to lose interest in life?